Hi and welcome to another Memories Made video. I'm designer Jen Gallacher and today I'm making a 12 by 12 layout that reflects a vacation that we took and a flight that we took. So it's going to use some travel things. Now I'm going to create several clusters. The first is going to be here at the top. I have a Jelly Bean Soup bingo card. I have a My Mind's Eye journaling card. It says Filled Notes. It has a camping icon on the other side, but it's kind of generic on the front. And then I'm going to take a crepe paper frame, and it's a chipboard frame. It's a thin chipboard frame, and it says Insta Processed. And we're going to start layering some things onto this cluster here and building it up before I attach anything to the page. That way I can get a feel for placement and any design holes that may start to appear as I create this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie some elements to this frame here. And I've taken some Bella Boulevard ephemera pieces. They are tickets and tags. And I've tied some crochet twine to the top of them. And we're going to attach them to the card. I want to point out that this bingo card has a yellow background. Now some of the elements have a distressed white or a true white. We're going to go ahead and mix everything together. The key to doing different colored backgrounds is to make sure you have enough so that one item just doesn't stick out on the page. So to balance that yellow background that's up here, I'm going to take an American Crafts tag. It's an inventory tag, but it works perfectly for airline travel. And again, I'm just going to take some crochet twine, and this is what I did to the other two tags, is we're simply going to tie a knot in the very top, and we're going to leave a long length of string coming off the top. And I double knot it. You could also do it in a bow if you prefer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start with the largest tag, and we'll, like I said, go ahead and tie it to the bottom of that frame. Now to do that, you kind of need octopus hands almost, but I like to hold it in place, get a feel for the placement, and then kind of almost like stitching, then I'll tie my knots that way. I'm sure there's probably a better way. This is just the way that I use. And I'll create another double knot at the top there. So you can see how that hangs together. So we'll go ahead and do that for the other two tags. The key to the other two tags is I don't want them all on the same plane, meaning I don't want all three tags to have the same top edge. I want one to go higher, one to go medium, and one to go lower. So I'll pre-plan how they hang. Again, use the technique to tie things to the elements. Another thing that you can do is temporarily adhere the top of the two top corners of the frame to your page, and that gives it some more stability. Normally you could do this better, but I'm going to put a photo here, so that's the reason why I'm not doing that here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the other two tags off camera and then show you what it looks like. So you can see here's the frame. Here are the tags attached at the bottom, and I went ahead and cut off the excess pieces of string. Now we can start attaching things to the page now that I have a feel for where everything is going. I'm using some dot runner adhesive. Again, bingo card is from Jelly Bean Soup, and all of the supplies are listed in the video description on YouTube, so be sure to go there. There are affiliate links if you want to shop these products. I recommend some places where you can find them. Before we place the frame onto the page, we need to add the photo. Now with chipboard, you have a couple of options with your adhesive. Because it's a thin chipboard, I'm just going to go ahead and use my permanent dot adhesive. But if you have a thicker frame, you may need to use a slightly stronger adhesive. Now for this frame, I am using an image of an airplane. And it looks like it's sticking off the edge a little bit, so I'll just trim off that extra photo. But I used a plane because that is kind of what the story is about. So I filled my frame with one of the photos that I feel is important. Then to attach that, again, I can use the dot runner because it's a thin frame, so I'm not really worried about it. I don't want to cover those filled notes words. Then this is an old tag I have from October afternoon. It says found. It also has a plain side on the back if you'd rather use that. And now we can attach the tags here at the bottom. We're going to start with the largest one first, and I'm going to pull that string taut, meaning tight. Then we'll do the next tag, which is this confidential tag. And because they're loosely attached, we can turn them. Again, pull that string taut. And I think I'm going to overlap the orange on top of the blue. So you can see the 3 tags form this great frame at the bottom, or this cluster at the bottom. But do note that I did align that one tag with the bottom of the paper. This keeps it from getting too busy. And I also aligned this frame with the top of the paper. For our next element, I'm going to take some Simple Stories pattern paper. It is a yellow diagonal paper. Basically, all I did was look for some kind of tone-on-tone patterns that matched the elements and ephemera that I've used here on the page. I'm cutting out a triangle from each side. And I'm going to lift these tags up. I'm realizing that I want to put some elements between those 2 layers. So you're going to see when I pull it off that some of that paper is missing, and that's okay. We're going to place that right along the bottom edge of that frame and make sure that it is equal on both sides. We're going to take some more Bella Boulevard paper. This is a blue stripe. It does have a Swiss cross on the back in black, which I love, so I'll probably use it on another page. Great patterns, but I really love their B-sides, which are usually a tone-on-tone. We're going to place this one along the bottom edge of that yellow paper, again making sure that each side has equal amounts. Then we're going to take some of the Bella Boulevard washi tape. This is a blue dot, and it doesn't have to be the perfect width. It's just kind of whatever you want to do there. And then another one. The key to adding layers with washi tape is to use different patterns, different widths, and different styles. That keeps it from being too boring. Now, before we place those tags back down, let's go ahead and add photos. And I want to show you something for those of you that print at home, or even those of you that print at a photo printer like Walmart or Costco. You can place 2 photos on one 4x6 sheet when you print them out. You have to be familiar with a photo editing program, but you can do this, and then you can have 2 photos printed on a 4x6 photo. If you print at home, this is easily done, but try experimenting with some different photo sizes. Because I wanted this to be one photo, I'm going to go ahead and leave it attached, but you could use this technique if you wanted more of 3x4 or a different size of photos. So try combining different photos when you upload them to your photo processing place. I'm going to slightly tuck these underneath. Again, make sure they're aligned with that bottom edge. And then to the bottom, I'm going to bring in a piece of craft cardstock to which I have cut a scalloped edge. You can do this with a die cut. You can do this with border punches. I actually have some old scissors. And then I usually turn my page around to do this. I pre-measured before cutting the scallop width so I'd get it exactly where I want it. Okay, now that we have the photos down and we have the mid strips down, we can go ahead and place those tags back onto the page. And I'm realizing I want to cover a little more of the space. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to gently pull these pieces up, and we're going to move the string over a little bit. That's the nice thing about if you loosely attach these things. So now I'm going to fill that visual space. And we're going to go back and add the other tags. Now, if you find you have adhesive that is left on your tags, you can use your fingers, as long as your fingers are clean, and you kind of just rub it off. That's what's great about those dot runners. And then remove all those kind of goobery things. Okay, to the right side of this contact info tag, and again, I think I'm going to place it on top. I really love that blue. I'm going to add a tab ephemera piece. This is from Bella Boulevard that says Destination. It was in the same ephemera pack as the tags, and that brings some of that red over to that side. Now for the title of the page, I'm going to use another ephemera piece. It says travel. Again, it was from the same piece, or container rather, package that has some of these other elements from Bella Boulevard. And because the photo doesn't have any faces in it, I'm less worried about covering part of the photo with the title. But that title is easily made and completed. For the journaling, I printed out 3 strips of paper and told the story chronologically about my daughter's feeling about flying. And we're going to tuck these behind that red frame. And I'm using the line in the field notes to make sure it's straight. And I'll show you why I did this kind of like list journaling. You want to keep them a little separate, create a little bit of space, but make sure they align. And then this third place. I like printing on craft cardstock. It's a great neutral cardstock. I want to show you this die, and it is backwards because it is a die cut, but this is a die cut from Echo Park Paper. It's a great number die, and it's quick and easy to use. And I used some blue and red cardstock and the die, and I cut out the numbers 1, 2, and 3 to finish out the list here. Now to add the numbers, I'm going to use a glue pen. It has a little bit better of a tip for adding adhesive to the back of these items. In fact, it's so pointed that I can easily add adhesive right on my page. And I did it in 2 different colors from the ephemera pieces I've been using, just to keep it a little more interesting. And it's okay that you overlap the numbers as long as you don't overlap the journaling. Don't obscure the journaling. Make sure that we get them straight. And it just creates kind of an interesting looking way to add journaling to your page. You don't have to just write it all out. You can create it more like a list. Then to finish it off, we're going to add a few more things. We're going to add this My Travels tab. Again, this is from October Afternoon. You can use any tabs that you already have and just make them work. And then I'm going to add some buttons here, and I'll just use some glue dots to attach those. And you can see that I created a little cluster with 3 different sizes of buttons in white, and one of them is tied into a bow, and 2 of them are just tied into knots. Then here at the bottom, to help fill in this space down here, I'm going to use some more ephemera pieces from October Afternoon. And they are nautical, but that works just fine for this page because we actually were going to the ocean. So there's kind of a hidden meaning rather, to these elements here. And then to just dress it up a little bit more, we'll just add some enamel dots to the bottom of the project here. So here you have a layout that uses a lot of different ephemera pieces that are both travel themed as well as not travel themed to create a layout about air travel. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of my tutorial videos, and look for additional inspiration at jengallacher.com.